Welcome to Pearls on a Pig podcast with Charlotte and Dolly, where we uncover everything you should know about Vegas philanthropy. Let's head to the studio now and see what we've unpacked in this episode.
Hello, Dolly. It has been a scorcher this week, and I am so hot.
Charlotte, are you talking about the weather or today's subject?
Both. I want to talk about, this Campus for Hope, and I'm not sure it's necessary because it just seems like a glorified version of Skid Row to provide upgraded accommodations for the unhoused, when we actually have organisations here trying to do the same things for years. What's your take on this?
You know how I feel about it. I have some mixed emotions because I do know a little bit about the actual plan of this program coming into Las Vegas. I know that it originated in San Antonio. It is something that has had tremendous success in San Antonio. But again, we're Las Vegas. We're not San Antonio. So to use that market as even anything comparable would be foolish because we don't have the same people. We don't have the same climate. We don't have the same needs that those folks in San Antonio needed versus what's here in Las Vegas. I think the premise for wanting this program and this facility stems from the resort properties wanting to handle and tackle the issue of homeless on their properties. And I think that's where the driving force came from. This is their idea how to fix it. They couldn't be more wrong. This has been done before here. I mean, this is not a new concept. It will fail like the other ones have before. Because just like you know, Charlotte, the way the unhoused population works, you can offer them services all day long. They don't take them. We've been doing this for years, and they prefer the lifestyle they have. So to build them a campus from the ground up with millions, I'm talking $200+ million going into this facility, all backed by mega resort properties here in Las Vegas, the best of the best, to literally just shuffle the unhoused from their property.
I think it's interesting that you say that the hundreds of millions of dollars that are going into this project looks like it's supposed to open in 2028. But I just wonder why these same dollars couldn't be shifted to already existing organizations that are boots on the ground also trying to mitigate this issue. It cannot be solved because, like you mentioned, people refuse the services or they prefer to not. They prefer to live in like this gypsy lifestyle. And I understand the properties not wanting them to disrupt their operations, but they have bigger issues, right? Like the unhoused is not their major issue. Like, let's not have these $26 waters. That's a huge issue, but that's a far different show. But this is definitely a concern, not only because they obviously found this money to provide for this project, but then they are putting this project in a neighborhood that have had families living here for generations upon generations. And now their livelihoods are going to be disrupted.
So let me back up. Let's go back to the part about where these funders who are the mega resort executives who think that they are qualified to run a nonprofit organization, right? Their skill set is running revenue and looking at charts and data for gaming. I don't know where they got their education from to run a nonprofit, but there's people in this town that have the talent, the reputation of doing this for decades, very successful at it. And so this whole new project, Campus for Hope, going out there, reinventing the wheel, and then thinking they're going to be the oversight is comical to me. And then secondly, you touched on, where the actual location is. The physical location of where this building is, they've already broke ground. So it is moving forward. It's unfortunate because, like you said, it is an residential neighborhood that has belonged to families for generations who probably can't afford to move because they don't have a mortgage payment anymore. They've worked hard to pay off their home. And now this wasn't a topic of discussion for them in advance of. This was we're letting you know this is coming in your neighborhood. Hope you enjoy, right? Here's the worst part. This program is supposed to be a facility that is going to work with not only the homeless population, but people with substance abuse, alcohol or drugs or whatever their substance issues are, mental health, women, men, families.
I even read that inmates, it will be a transitional space for inmates. Not to say all inmates have a violent past, but then you do have those inmates that are questionable with their patterns. And so again, we're putting them in a space, we don't know what their triggers are, what may happen, and again, just escalating the safety measure for these residents and their families.
Just think about the vicinity of where this is located because it's on, I believe, West Charleston between like maybe Torrey Pines and Jones. Yeah. Here's the thing. There's CSN College right there. There's an elementary school. There's a high school. There's a shopping center. What are we doing by putting these families at risk by bringing a population who has not done any work yet? They're going to this facility to do the work. So, in the meantime, this is their plan. I am so terrified. And I use that word because there is nothing worse than putting people who have addictions for whatever they may be in neighborhoods with families and children. That is so dumb. And I'm not saying we should lock them up and isolate them away from the world. But what I am saying is there's no real reason to build a facility. If you think these people are going to stay with you, the CEOs are going, hey, let's get the unhoused out. Let's give them an upgrade to Campus for Hope, right?
Yeah, and apparently, per the website, they're going to be provided treatment in a holistic manner. So it's like, what does that look like?
So are they getting a sound bath and yoga?
Sound bath, yoga, meditation. What's happening with that process? The other alarming thing that I just read on an article that was just posted 4 days ago is both the Campus for Hope and Forensic Facility are state funded projects, which means state legislators have all the information. They know what's happening in their counties, in their cities, and yet they are okay with this level of escalating safety issues. However, they did get a statement from the governor's office, and the following statement reads: the governor's office is committed to working with DPBH to ensure proper security measures are in place so that inpatient individuals can receive the care they need in a safe and secure facility. But where was the safety for the neighborhood? Where's the concern for that?
Yeah, there wasn't any. None. Zero. And again, I go back to looking at who's funding this project. So, mega resorts, what investment do they have in this project other than we don't want you on our property? That's the underlying factor. And there's no two ways to look at that because I don't know any CEOs at resort properties or casinos that give two shits about anything but their casino revenue. So, what are we doing?
The bottom line, that's it. It's the bottom line and the tourism. And if either one of those are being affected by the unhoused, they want to get rid of them. But this is really where you get so frustrated and lose respect for those that have zero clue of the ongoings of how these unhoused folks are even operating day to day. Maybe they're just in your casino floor because it's so damn hot outside.
Right. And here's the thing, I don't think that these executives understand what causes people to be homeless. It's your casino. People have gambling addictions and have come here, lost everything they owned, and that is the reason why they're homeless. That doesn't make them a bad person. That doesn't make them anything. But they don't need you now to come to their rescue and build them a campus for hope. I mean, you didn't help them stop gambling. So you're contributing to the problem.
They think by putting that little excerpt on the machine or the ATM, if you feel you have a problem, call 1-800 Gamblers Are Us, whatever that phone number is. But that's not helping, right? And let's really be honest here. When we look at the news and we see these stories of issues that are happening, random folks that got stabbed last year, a fight breaking out in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard, a shooting, somebody got stabbed and killed in one of their rooms. None of these people were the unhoused.
They sure were not. They were patrons.
None of these issues were caused by the unhoused. None of them.
No. We could debate this all day just because I feel like this was a pet project for these executives and casinos to get behind. This is a look at us we're making an impact in this valley and we're taking steps towards ending homelessness. I can't wait to circle back with you in a couple years and just see what their impact report is. I don't think you're going to have heads in beds like you do in your resort property. So I don't understand why this is costing so much money. How much time are these executives in these resort properties spending on this project? That's what I'm going to call it too. Their little side hustle, because this isn't real. And how long before it actually has to say, we can't continue to operate?
I mean, agreed. And let's go back to solving the homeless problem, the unhoused problem. Per our new AI colleague, ChatGPT, there are currently in the Las Vegas Clark County metro area, per Cause IQ, 525 housing/shelters. And if they're still going and trying to quote unquote end homelessness or mitigate the problem, what do these mega resort executives think that they're going to change? And like you said earlier, the CEO that's coming in from San Antonio, following that model, we are a completely different beast of how our economics are run, how people live here in the city and surrounding areas. We're an extremely transient city, right? People move here, they're here for 5 years, they leave because they realize they're either going to lose all their money or become one of the unhoused, right? It's frustrating. And so I really want to see past 2028 how well it does.
Exactly. Play date. I want to see 2029 and I want to see the numbers. Quick scroll on their Facebook page will let you know. This community experience center that they offer, where you can kind of get a glimpse of what this place is going to be or hopes to be when it grows up, I'm going to say, has been closed several Tuesdays in a row or every other Tuesday when they're supposed to be open. If you can't even keep your experience center open, how are you going to treat the people that are living there? I mean, this is a joke. It really is. It's sad. And it's really disturbing to me that somebody would even back this project. I don't foresee it going past 2030 at best.
It gets even better. So on their website, they have a section called the Campus for Hope Difference. And it explicitly states, Campus for Hope is not a shelter. It is a transformational campus. So what are we transformational? I mean, what is that saying?
So we're just going to morph into somebody else? You come in as one person and then we just morph into something that you should have been all along. I mean, that's dumb. That's not even a humanitarian thing to say to someone, as a post.
Yeah, right. So it's designed for individuals and families who are ready to pursue stability. Like you mentioned earlier, not everybody is ready, nor do they want to change.
Have these folks that are running this place or had this idea, I wonder, have they walked down and I don't want to say the homeless corridor because that's a terrible term, but it's been called that here in Vegas for years. If you're from here or been here any significant amount of time, you know that. But I wonder if these executives did any research. Did you walk down Main Street? Did you ask them why they're unhoused? How you can make it better?
I mean, the F Street Bridge alone. I almost kill somebody every other day because they've copped a squat and built their own little fort, right?
Yeah, yeah. But if you've done your research and you've walked out there to talk to these folks to find out what put them there in the first place, I think you would have had a better handle on what we're doing. They surely didn't tell you, we need a transitional morph us into somebody else. Nobody said that to you. And I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they paid that applied analysis place here to do their survey. That's a joke too. Who'd you survey? A bunch of resort properties? You didn't survey 10,000 homeless people because there aren't any.
Right, because I didn't get surveyed. Well, it gets even better because then I want to question it because it says individuals and families who are ready to pursue stability, employment, and independence. So my question is, for these mega resorts, are you there to also offer employment?
Ha, that's a circle back for another conversation, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see how many of these people they're actually going to hire. 0.
You know, are you doing the talk, but are you going to walk it? Are you going to purposely help these people and set aside some entry-level jobs in order for them to pursue stability, employment, and independence?
I can't wait to see their impact report from year 1. I just want to see investing $200 million. And obviously, it's going to cost more than that because they got to have programmatic staff. especially if they're doing a transformational. I mean, if you're morphing somebody into somebody else, kind of,
If they're saying $200 million, I would say a good 400 million overall. You know,
yeah, I would easily double it too. Yeah. And how much of their time is now going to be spent on this pet project versus their actual job, which they're supposed to be qualified to do? But here you are, CEO of a mega resort, overseeing a nonprofit. I would love to hear. Tell me.
it gets better though. So, for these individuals and families, they have to be referred through a navigation centre run by the local municipalities. Eligible participants are welcomed onto campus with a full array of wraparound services tailored to addressing the root causes of homelessness and help create meaningful pathways to stability. I promise you, any other non-profit organisation somewhere along those lines has that mission statement built into their mission.
Probably all of them. Let's be real. I mean, that's what they're all trying to do. The difference here is the wording. I think it's semantics completely for this one. They want to make it sound more polished. And here's the other thing, referral. I love this. So let's take the scenario. You got to be referred there. So who's referring, right? Somebody's walking the street, interviewing a homeless person and says, "You want to be transformed?" And the person says yes or no. So, yes, get into our little van while we take you to our new campus location. And then if they say no, well, you just have another homeless person now still on the street. You didn't do anything. So, how many no's are you going to hear?
Right. And I want to see the impact numbers on how many people say no versus who says yes on the referral program. Because at this point, if it's transformational and you're here to help the unhoused with stability, but then they have to be referred and eligible, aren't you already eligible if you are unhoused? Because you obviously don't have stability, right? One would think. And so again, it goes back to our previous conversations of how does the community hold these organizations accountable? How are they reading between the lines? How are they figuring out that they're not being gaslit with these projects?
One would think. One would think. But here's the thing. Charlotte, you've got me so fired up today with this subject. I can't even control myself right now. I am scribbling on this piece of paper of things I want to say, to the whole of this. So back to this eligible piece. So you're homeless. That should make you eligible in a normal person's mind, right? You're eligible. And then we take it a step further. So we're going to go down and we're going to talk to these folks and we're going to say, like little doctors with our prescription pads as we walk down the street, you are eligible because you're homeless or you have an addiction. Would you like to be transformed holistically? The program is XYZ. And then you come into this campus for hope. So what happens if you don't work their quote program? Because I'm certain it's going to have a programmatic model or piece, like every other nonprofit that deals with homelessness or substance abuse. Work the program. And if you don't, the repercussions are that you usually are asked to leave the program and you're evicted. So now we put them back on the street. That is concerning to me because I have interviewed other nonprofits that work with the homeless population that have literally said these exact same things. Like if they don't want to be part of a program, there's nothing we can do. Now it's almost like this new Campus for Hope is like going down there and shoveling people into a cage and putting them in there to force them to work a program so that they can continue to get money. Because I truly think that's what this is all about. This is about money. This is not about transforming people. I hope that they offer at least counseling services. But again, if it's all referral based, who's referring these people? The police?
Right. The security guard.
Hotel security. This is comical. And it's so sad because I don't mean it in a funny manner. The subject we're talking about is serious.
It is sad and it is serious, but what makes it laughable is the fact that these CEOs, these executives, have no clue as to what the process is. Now, I will say, if they want to catch a clue on what is happening with the unhoused, Shine a Light is a fantastic organization who is literally in the tunnels, trying to connect and just, even though they know some of these folks don't want to be out of the tunnels or they just want to live their life, they're at least still providing some kind of food or clothing or something, right? They are boots on the ground of what is actually happening in our city with regards to being unhoused. These executives have zero clue. And like you said, it is all about the money. And now we're just going to have this big, shiny new building that serves absolutely no purpose.
I'll be waiting on pins and needles to just see what this first couple months of them opening looks like. The number of people they serve, can they even get folks to come in there? And especially if it's referral based. I mean, again, that is not something that people just are referring their best friend to a shelter. It's not, this is not a rehab facility. You're not coming out on the other side like that.
I have a feeling that they're going to get a sense that they would be unsustainable, and then they're going to turn around and lean on other nonprofits to refer their clients to their facilities, right?
And you just hit it. Exactly. That is part of this plan. Nonprofits that deal with certain sectors like substance abuse or mental health, they are going to bring in what they're going to call the experts and give them a space at this campus to deal with their clients. But what does that look like? So the nonprofits are already in existence and have their own space. Why do they need to relocate to your little pretty campus of hope to operate now, hire another staff, pay more rent? I mean, are you going to give it to them for free? I doubt it when you just paid 200 million for yours.
And not even that. They end up losing out on their funding abilities for their specific nonprofit because now they're going to be under the umbrella of Campus for Hope. So Campus for Hope can fundraise for that specific need and take the money from the existing organizations, who again have been boots on the ground and understand how all of this is operating. But nobody wants to look at the bigger picture here.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about the funding, these mega resorts currently are giving to the nonprofits that deal with these specific issues. They have pillars of giving, and they're giving to the ones that help homeless and drug addiction and substance abuse and families, all this stuff. So now those poor nonprofits that have been doing this and are the experts in the field are now going to lose money because they're going to redirect their funding to their own nonprofit now. So Campus for Hope is going to be completely funded by these mega resorts and these other nonprofits in town that are actually grade A, making impact and have been doing this for decades, are going to lose the support of the resort properties. And it's such a self-serving thing. It really is. And I can't stand when nonprofits pop up like this overnight for a self-serving factor, which that should be the topic of next week's discussion, because we are almost out of time today. But I definitely want to circle back on self-serving nonprofits because there's a few in this town that I've been looking at. Oh my goodness, so terrible.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear what you've been digging into. But Dolly, it's been an interesting conversation regarding Campus for Hope. And so hopefully we can follow this story more closely as they start breaking ground in their opening for 2028.
Yeah, I'm certain we're going to circle back on this one because they're not going anywhere just yet, but we are going to follow them pretty closely just to see what exactly they're doing and how they're doing it. So until next time, Charlotte.
Well, until next time, and don't melt in this heat.
You either. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Pearls on a Pig podcast with Charlotte and Dolly. If you want to reach out to us with suggestions for a topic on a future episode, drop us an email at pearlsonapigpodcast@gmail.com.